The MCU is goofy. Like, really goofy. Now, jokes have always been a large part of what the MCU likes to do, but they used to be, well, funny.
So, you got detention.
They were also few and far between and weren't always the focus. But in today's MCU, they seem more and more to be taking center stage. So much so that they even decided MODOK was a good idea. I mean, whose desk did this land on to get the seal of approval, honestly? Now, that's far from the only issue that this movie has, but to me, I feel like most of the issues it faces are chronic illnesses of the MCU. Visuals so colorful and saturated they look like a YouTube thumbnail. A nonsensical plot that has no stakes at all. A pseudo self-awareness that their plot makes no sense. And a cast that's way too good for their awful writing team. But really, for what seems to be the first time on one of their major films, Marvel is starting to really feel the hurt. Anytime you break a cinematic record set by Batman vs. Superman, you know you did something incredibly wrong. The only thing that could be worse than that is if your visuals drew comparisons to Shark Boy and Lava Girl, which they did. A lot. But what exactly makes Ant-Man and the Wasp so much worse than some of the others? Well, from this point on, it's all spoilers, so just be aware. The film starts with Scott just going through his daily life and showing us what he's up to. Apparently, saving the universe made him a pseudo-celebrity, but despite this, he still feels really unfulfilled. His family's been keeping secrets behind his back, his daughter has a suit and has become a pseudo-political activist, and then Scott has to pick her up from jail. She also made a device that can map the quantum realm. How?
Because we're smart.
So anyway, Janet, the mom, is also seeing this for the first time, and was the one that was trapped in the quantum realm for like 30 years, and as soon as she sees it, she just freaks the hell out. They disconnect the power source and then toss it to the side, but immediately after it was disconnected from its power source, it turns on and sucks them all down into the quantum realm, along with a colony of ants that are supposedly really smart because Hank was working with them. Turns out, the quantum realm is really just like outer space. If I were to Photoshop Peter Quill there instead of Ant-Man, you'd believe it was Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And why wouldn't you? It looks just like the outer space that the MCU has established. The air's breathable, there's some magic goop that they can drink to speak the language, and apparently they even hang out at bars. The two met and he has this multiversal core to this crazy ship he's got, and he needed Janet to fix it for him. So they worked to fix it, but then when they fix the core, Janet touches his magical ship and gets to see directly into his mind. It's just like when I touch my friend's car and I get to see every sin he's ever committed. I am now scarred for life, because that makes perfect sense. But hey, if this didn't happen, then how would she know he's a bad guy? And we had to know that because his name is Kang the Conqueror. So anyway, Janet ends up destroying this core and somehow makes it back anyway. I think Hank saved her, but Kang is stuck here forever. But Janet also repaired his suit, and that gave him enough power to conquer the entire quantum realm while she was gone. Well, apparently this Kang guy is like really strong and has traveled all over time and space and seen the end and killed the Avengers multiple times. So Cassie and Scott get captured, and then Kang wants Scott to go steal this multiversal core back by shrinking it back down. Apparently he needs this to escape the quantum realm, which he was exiled to by the other Kangs. Scott says no at first because, he's a bad guy and you don't want to follow his demands, but then Kang just threatens using his magic force powers to kill his daughter in front of him over and over again in a
I've come to bargain
type of way. So Scott agrees and is off to steal the core back, with MODOK, who turned out to be Darren or Yellow Jacket from the first Ant-Man film, acting like Kang's personal assistant to help him steal it back. Whatever the case is, they go into like this probability field in the middle of the core, and Scott has to deal with a bunch of other versions of himself until the others show up, and then it's just not a problem anymore. Well, that's great. Anyway, they steal the core and they leave, and they don't want to give it back to Kang. But given that Kang has killed the Avengers multiple times, he just sort of ragdolls the whole group around and leaves them to die. Because it turns out no matter how many lifespans as a conqueror you live, no villain will ever confirm the kill. Thankfully, they have a way out of this situation. Remember those ants that got sucked in too? Well, apparently, they aged 1,000 years in a day and are now a Type 2 civilization. Cassie manages to escape holding because instead of actually just leaving her in the cell, she's perpetually transported by guards, I guess to give her a chance to escape. Janet also escapes when left alone with 3 guards for about 15 seconds because all guards are wildly incompetent. Apparently, no one in the quantum realm is remotely good at their jobs. So Cassie escapes and sends out a message to the rest of the quantum realm to come fuel rebellion against Kang. Then Scott turns big and Cassie turns big and Cassie tells MODOK not to be a dick anymore, and then MODOK decides to turn his entire life around and join the good guys at the last minute. Somehow this multiversal threat Kang gets overrun by literal ants that just happen to fall into the portal with them, but his force field is just holding up. And then MODOK, who's now reclaimed the name Darren, flies into the portal and yells, "My name's Darren and I'm not a dick." And then the portal breaks and the ants drag Kang away. This leads into one of the most awkward death scenes I've ever watched. Then the gang gets a portal back to Earth open, but oh no, Kang didn't die to the random ants. So instead of just disposing of Scott like he could with his magical powers that we've seen time and time again here as he destroyed everyone who's come up against him, he decides instead to fist fight Scott. And not just that, he decides that while they're fighting, he wants to hit Scott against the only thing that can't be damaged in order for the portal to stay open and for him to escape the quantum realm.
Not a great plan.
Right as Scott is about to lose anyway, Hope comes back through the portal and Kang ends up inside the multiversal core and dying in there. But with the core destroyed, the portal closes and the two are trapped in the quantum realm forever. Except it's really like 10 seconds, because immediately from the other side, Cassie just opens the portal again.
There are no consequences to my actions anymore. No matter what I do, literally nothing bad can happen to me.
But you know, for all the problems it has, I did enjoy watching it, kind of for the same reason that I enjoy watching like a Monty Python film. It's just so wildly nonsensical that it's fun to watch. At this point, the Marvel movies seem to have become like parodies of their former selves, and it's kind of funny in a way. Low stakes, inconsistent power scaling, lazy writing with a lot of conveniences, and a failure to set up things in the future that get people excited. All in all, I thought this movie was fun to watch, but it wasn't good objectively. But hey, if that's your thing, then maybe go give it a watch. That's about all I have for this one, though. If you have anything else you want me to review, leave a comment, and if you're feeling particularly generous, you're always welcome to like and subscribe. Either way, though, I'll see you next video.